Buying a home is one of those big life decisions that comes with excitement, stress, and you know what? Let's be honest, way too many Zillow searches, and you know what I'm talking about. But today, I'm going to simplify the process in order to help you save time, money, and maybe even a little bit of your sanity. Let's start off with your budget. If you don't have this locked down, the rest really doesn't matter. First, you need to think beyond the sales price. Sure, the monthly payment might look manageable, but don't forget the extras. The closing costs, property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, and property taxes, which can be thousands of dollars annually. So suddenly that monthly payment isn't the whole picture. You're going to have to add to it, and it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the long-term costs of owning a home, and I know it can get expensive. Things like home repair, regular maintenance, and yard work need to be factored in because you're going to have to take care of these things. And these sometimes aren't just minor inconveniences. They are real expenses that can add up fast. So for example, replacing a roof, this is here in Florida, it may be different if you're in New York or California, can cost anywhere from $10,000 to well over $100,000, of course, depending on the location of the home, the size of the home, most importantly, the roof type. That beautiful yard with mature trees, well, guess what? Somebody needs to take care of it. Maybe you will, but if you're somebody that's working or perhaps you just don't want to do it, it can cost thousands of dollars. Even routine maintenance, like servicing your HVAC system or cleaning the gutters, require budgeting. To help you plan for these, I've actually included an Excel spreadsheet with a list of common maintenance and repair costs below in the description section of this video, of course. It's a simple tool to help you calculate what your home might cost you beyond the mortgage. And if you're financing, by the way, get pre-approved before you even start looking at homes. It shows the seller you're serious and keeps you from falling in love with a house you can't actually afford. You've heard it before, location, location, location. It matters. For families, proximity to good schools, parks, and family-friendly amenities is probably key. For young professionals, convenience might mean being close to work, a vibrant nightlife, or a fitness center. And for retirees or beach lovers, the lure of the coast might be the driving factor, especially here in Florida. Maybe elsewhere it might be different up in New York, but with that comes unique considerations. Here's an example. I work with a buyer who dreamed of living really close to the beach. They ended up falling in love with this new construction home that was in a community further away. Just to realize that the traffic to the beach wasn't just 45 minutes. On a bad day, it could easily end up taking over an hour. And so after a year of living there, they realized that wasn't the right destination for them and that they really wanted to be closer to the beach. And so they ended up selling just to repurchase closer to the beach. And they could have avoided a lot of this if they had studied the neighborhood more so. And I think it's so important if you're looking to live in a certain neighborhood that you spend some time there. You learn the traffic, you figure out where what is, are you close to the amenities that you want to be really close to, and perhaps most importantly is to walk the street and try to bump into potential neighbors because they're the ones that are going to give you the real deal and they're going to be telling you the truth out of how they see it through their own lens. And I think there's a lot of value to that. So then when choosing a location, you're going to want to think about these three factors. Of course, convenience. How close is it to work, if you're still working, to school, or your favorite activities like hitting the beach or maybe visiting local attractions. Then you're going to think about future value. Is the area growing or improving? And are there plans for development that match your lifestyle? Number three, let's talk about timing. So everyone wants to buy at the perfect time. But here's the truth. Even with access to local market data, timing the market is incredibly difficult unless the signs are glaringly obvious. Like right now here in Florida, we have the condo crisis, which is driven by the Surfside bill and is applicable for those condos that are older and at least 3 stories and higher. The financial risks here are clear, making this an example of a market shift that's easier to anticipate. But what about when the warning signs aren't so obvious. That's where the timing the market becomes much, much harder. And not every downturn comes with a flashing neon sign, right? So markets can shift quickly and without warning, influenced by factors like legislation, insurance rates, politics, economical conditions, or even unexpected weather events. A property type or a neighborhood that looks like a solid bet today could face unforeseen challenges tomorrow. And here's the flip side. The market could just as easily move up. Imagine waiting for prices to drop only to find yourself priced out as demand surges or interest rates climb. And a lot of you, unfortunately, went through this over the last few years because of the craziness that the COVID pandemic brought on. So predicting these shifts, especially when they're subtle or tied to factors outside of your control, requires more than just local data. Even experienced professionals, quite honestly, can't guarantee what the market will do next. I mean, it's really hard to time a market. What you do need to know, though, is that seasonal timing is another important factor to consider. Spring often brings an influx of new listings, which provides more options to choose from, but it also means heightened competition amongst buyers. On the other hand, winter typically offers fewer choices, but it can be a great time to secure better deals and potentially lower prices. Then, having said all that, what's the bottom line? Well, while staying informed about local trends is essential, it's not a foolproof way to predict the future. So then to perfectly time the market is like chasing a moving target. So remember this, the most important timing factor in most cases is going to be you. Are you financially and emotionally ready to make a move? Do the current conditions align with your long-term goals? Can you afford what you're aspiring to purchase? That's really the question that you need to ask yourself in most cases. So you found that one house you absolutely love. Now it's time to make an offer. And this is where strategy comes in, and a well thought out approach can make a real difference here. But first, you're going to want to manage your emotions. And this is a storyline. It's just a movie that's on repeat. Buyers get swept up in excitement and sometimes make impulsive decisions. And it's really easy to picture yourself hosting family dinners in that beautifully renovated kitchen, or perhaps enjoying your morning coffee on the perfect back porch. Perhaps it's overseeing a lake. But when it comes to making an offer, it is so crucial to stay level-headed. Truly treat this like the business decision it is. And so here's a tip. If the price doesn't make sense or the seller isn't willing to negotiate, don't be afraid to walk away. There will be other homes that you're gonna fall in love with. It might not be tomorrow, but they're gonna come around. So then before you even make an offer, you're gonna wanna put the due diligence in. And so if you live in places such as Florida, maybe California, maybe New York, where there's more frequent natural disasters, up north it would be winter storms, in California it would be fires, you're gonna want to call your homeowner's insurance agent and get a quote for them. How much is it going to cost to insure my house for the natural disasters that could easily happen in that area? Here in Florida, it would be hurricanes and, even considering flood insurance. I think everybody in Florida should have flood insurance. So you get an estimate. So that way you have an idea of, first of all, is the house insurable? And then consider title insurance. So you're going to want to protect yourself against any potential title issues that could surface later, such as liens or ownership disputes. Really important. So then you've done all your due diligence. Now you're going to want to make your offer attractive to the seller, contingent upon having done a comp analysis and understanding the market that you're in, the local market you're in. It's not always about being the highest bidder. In fact, cash offers are often the most appealing because they eliminate financial contingencies and can really speed up the whole process. If you make a cash offer, it puts you in a really strong position. If cash isn't an option, there's other ways to stand out. You can be flexible on the closing date. Perhaps you want to increase the earnest money deposit. A larger deposit shows you're just a little bit more serious in the eyes of the seller. And you could also limit contingencies. While it's important to protect yourself, being reasonable with contingencies can make your offer more appealing. But most importantly is really to keep the market conditions in mind. And so you should ask your agent for guidance here. In a seller's market, you may need to come in strong, sometimes even above asking price. That was really the scenario we were in across the United States during the COVID pandemic. Things have cooled down a lot. I still see multiple offer situations in certain areas, but that's far less common now. So ask your agent, ultimately decide what the fair value of the house is, and then determine if there's a lot of competition for the house. If there's not a lot of competition for that house, then you don't have to be as aggressive in your offer. So if you determine that you're in a buyer's market, you're going to have more room for negotiation, such as on the price, closing costs, or repair work. Finally, remember the big picture here. The goal isn't just to win the house, it's to ultimately make sure that the house is the right one for you. In that case, you're going to want to stick to your budget, rely on your research you've done, and don't really let the pressure of the moment lead to regrets later. Make sure you love the house, you can afford it, you're not overpaying for it if you're in a buyer's market especially. I don't think you should ever waive the opportunity to inspect a home unless it's a complete teardown. But if it isn't, then you should absolutely make sure that you inspect the house. It's really your chance to take a much closer look and determine if the home you're buying is truly the dream it appears to be, or is it potentially a money pit in disguise. And here's the thing. Inspections are essentially your best friend. That's the way I look at it. They uncover everything from minor quirks like squeaky doors to perhaps significant issues like a roof that's one strong gust wind away from needing total replacement. But let's also be real here. No house is going to be perfect, and the inspector will almost always find something. So the goal isn't perfection, it's understanding the big ticket items that could impact your safety, comfort, or wallet that's going to cost you too much money. So let me just share you a quick story. I had a customer who fell in love with a charming older home. It was really a beautiful house. It was considered historic. It had original wood floors, big windows, and a lot of character, of course, right? Because historic home. But during the inspection, it was discovered that the foundation had major issues, and to fix it would have cost tens of thousands of dollars. My customers decided to walk out of the deal during the inspection period because they determined it was going to cost them too much to make this home truly their dream house, and instead they opted for a home that was much newer and needed way less repair work. Let's assume that you just did the inspection though, and you're willing to deal with a lot of the repair work. Maybe not all, but most of them. Certain types of repair work, and depending on which offer you put in, you might request from the seller to have those fixed before closing, or perhaps have the seller give you credit towards closing. A lot of times it is negotiable, and in order to close the deal, the seller is willing to make repair work, even if it's just meeting you halfway or maybe 1/3 of the way, especially when there's issues that are safety issues and health issues that have come up. Those are typically much easier to negotiate on with the seller. So when it comes to the inspections, you're really going to want to focus on these key areas: the roof, the plumbing, electrical system, foundation. Are there termites there? And don't assume new construction means no issues. Even brand new homes can have surprises like shoddy workmanship. Yes, it sounds unreal, but I've seen it happen. So the closing day is the home stretch, but there's still work to do here. First, review your closing disclosure carefully, line by line. If you can get it in advance, maybe a day or two prior to closing in person, or maybe you're doing it virtually, really take your time to understand the documents and make sure that all the figures are correct. So you're going to want to check the document that breaks down all the costs, and mistakes can happen. I've seen it happen. Look for unexpected fees or incorrect amounts. Once everything is signed, congratulations, you're now officially the homeowner. Now comes the fun part: unpacking boxes, figuring out why you have 12 spatulas but no can opener. But enjoy that part of the process after closing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe for realistic real estate information. And do me a favor, I'd be really curious to find out what you're looking for in a dream home. Leave me a comment in the comment section. And thank you so much for watching today, for stopping in. I always appreciate you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Take care.